Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching. Glad to have you here today. It is a Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week. I can't believe it. This week's actually gone pretty fast. Today we're going to talk about your own personal brand, if you want to call it, your own personal position in the marketplace. How do you position yourself? Let's just say you're a startup company, an entrepreneur, sales rep. Doesn't make a difference. Again, still the sales, the service, the capacity, and what you need to do. And do you need to look uniform? Is uniform a good thing, or is it the kiss of death? Some people will have an opinion on it either way. I'll tell you my opinion here. I think uniformity is good. I don't think a confused customer or confused consumer is a good customer or good consumer, good customer, good client potential. I think that when you're dealing with somebody, they like to see some real consistency. For example, the trucks, I remember here in New Jersey, because I work with large HVAC companies, I see a lot of small companies. I see a lot of larger companies. In fact, I know one of them, Mike Aguilera with Gold Medal is one of them, and A.J. Perry is another one here. Both of these companies, I know their trucks inside and out. I know their positioning. I know their branding to the marketplace. By the way, they are branded. Both are very substantial, very sizable companies, very successful companies in doing what they do as far as the revenue. But they're big growth companies, and their stuff is absolutely everywhere. It is no matter where you go, up and down the Parkway or highway here in New Jersey, as long as it's before the border of New York City, you're going to see their trucks all the time. So they are branded, and they have the same scheme, the same color scheme to them, the same setup, the same trucks, the same everything. It's almost like UPS. When you see UPS truck, you know it's a UPS truck. You know it's not just a small cargo van. All those companies, DHL was always tagged that way, FedEx is always tagged that way, UPS is always tagged that way, so they're recognizable. So when you're in the service business in particular, you need to have something that kind of stands out and is recognizable as your personal brand or your personal position in the marketplace. So for example, the company I have here, Without Excuses Coaching, robmlyon.com, the whole program itself is very uniform. Everything a potential client will get is very uniform. So whether it's a document for coaching, whether it's some educational things that we're going to discuss, something in the learning process, a consulting package, whatever that happens to be, they're going to get that particular thing. When I go out and I do a presentation, I speak, the same positioning, the same personal branding that I have right here is what I go and use when I'm out there in the field too as well. I'm going to give you a couple of examples to it, and this is why I think it's consistent. Now, there are people that think you've got to stand out and be a little bit different, but I will tell you, that may work in certain realms, and I can understand how it's going to work. But in a service business realm, I absolutely have to think you got to have some uniformity to it. Whether that's the patches on your shirt, whether you got things like this, see it up close. That's my personal card with a clip, or we have one of these with a photo ID onto them. It's always a good plus too as well. But business cards are the same way, so you can see that. Books are the same way. See the back of the business card? Pretty unique, isn't it? So everything I do is pretty much a signature type to what I'm presenting. So if I hand out a business card to person A, person Z will have the same aspect. If I'm going to send out a book, person A is going to get the same aspect as person Z. Or if I send you out my ebook or anything that's digital, I will send it out, and it will also look uniformly to some of this. Even though the ebook is not named Service Without Excuses, it's all going to be based around, the Rob M. Lyon brand. You see right there. All right. So I believe wholeheartedly in service-based businesses. So if I work with a client, a potential client, and they tell me, I want to have a red truck here. I can buy this van cheap. I can buy this truck, the white truck here, a brown truck here, and just put my decals onto them. That is just craziness. I know you may save some money doing it. If you're going to do that, paint the truck. It will cost you money. Or wrap the truck. Wrap the truck, the color is irrelevant. They're going to wrap the truck to whatever color it's going to be anyway. But don't have things that are different. Make sure you look like you have a fleet of vehicles. If you have 2 vehicles, make sure those 2 vehicles look the same. You have 3 vehicles, they all look the same. There's the consistency is king, just like I always talk about. When it comes to your service-based businesses, if you go out to a job site, let's say disaster restoration, we have box trucks, we have regular vans, and we have pickup trucks. All the vehicles look exactly the same. I don't have examples of them right here, but I can sure pull some up for a later episode, but all of our trucks look the same. In fact, I will put at the end of this a look of our trucks together at a shop or outside of a job. I'll make sure I add it to this post, and you'll see what I mean by uniformity. You know what company's showing up to your door. You know who's showing up to the door. You know why they're there. You know the guys that are coming in are related to the service that you're hiring somebody for. If you show up in an unmarked truck, automatically suspicion comes up. If you show up in, I drive to some of these jobs because I live in New Jersey, and I work in New York when I'm doing that capacity. I'm coming in an unmarked truck, and I'm coming from New Jersey, so you have to automatically explain yourself. That's why I have this. And usually when I go out to job sites, I'll have plenty of business cards, and I'm in a marked shirt that says "Wet Out Now Cleaning and Restoration." So the times I am out there in the public or am promoting, I do have a company vehicle, a company shirt, which is marked. I have everything that signifies what I do and what I'm about. And when I show up to the house, it's not just yes, ma'am, hi, ma'am, or hi, sir. I'm Rob from Wet Out Now. I'm here to help the crew with the job at hand, or I'm showing up before the crew so I can assess the job and know what's going on and work with them and their insurance carrier, whatever that happens to be. So I do look uniform. I do look the part. When you don't look the part, that's when it can be real concerning. So several years back here in New York is just close enough, so I just say here in New York, we had a problem where Con Ed, and it wasn't Con Ed employees, it was people disguising themselves as Con Ed, were going into homes and burglarizing or starting problems or whatever that happens to be into that particular property. And they were going in there under the flag of another company that weren't associated with and causing and committing crimes, things like that. So Con Ed eventually got down to where they had full uniforms, full ID badges with the person's ID, able to match up to their driver's license if they needed to make sure that that company was in fact them. They also implemented a system where you could call Con Ed to find out who was going to be there, what they were going to do, and they would also notify you who was going to be there and what they were going to do. So having a sense of uniformity is so huge, because it dispels any concerns that your clients and customers will have, because nobody that's illegitimate is going to go through the hassle of putting a $4,000 wrap on a vehicle to be fake, unless they're going to do it in a big way like they tried to do with Con Ed. And we're successful until they got caught. Your business can't support that. Your business is not that type of company, can't sustain that type of hit, can't sustain that kind of problem. So sticking out with your uniform, with your positioning in the marketplace, with your business cards, with your book, everything the same. It's going to be pretty consistent with everything you do. Again, I love this, and this was done by my graphic artist, but the back of the card is the sense of the book. So if I come out to a meeting, I bring usually a pile of these books and a pile of other things with me, and of course my business cards to talk to people. But you could tell when they walk around the room, they got these business cards. I mean, these stick out like a sore thumb. My graphic artist is incredible. Inspiring Moments. If you don't know about who that is, go to Inspiring Moments or look them up on Instagram and stuff. They're pretty incredible. They've been doing all my graphic stuff for quite some time. And they're the ones that actually designed the book cover for this too as well. So look the part. You don't have to be super GQ. I get that. You know what GQ means? It means you're really everything's looking right. Everything is fitting right. But you don't have to be that way. You just have to look like the other person. You're going into the house or business. You go into commercial business, let's say it's something with a security issue, and a guy walks in that has nothing on, just a regular t-shirt and jeans, everybody else's uniform, that security officer is already on high alert, may not even let that person in. And then when they're working in the building, they could be in an area where maybe they're not supposed to be at, and automatically it's a big problem because they're going in there not in uniform, and the security might think they're up to something, and they may not be up to anything. They might be looking for the water closet or the bathroom. But because you're automatically not in the same uniform or look the same as the other guys doing the job, you stick out, and not necessarily in a good way. So my advice to you is make sure your marketing, your personal branding, your position in the marketplace is consistent with what you do, and everybody that goes in and deals with the job site is consistent with this. When I had Clean Force One, everybody had uniforms. In fact, they were red. You see a picture of me with the thing on it, with your little, and they had the ID tag onto it, and black pants. And that is what we wore. Everybody that went out in the job that way. Even if you went on the weekend, you had it that way. Now, if we went into a major job, major situation, was I lenient about it? Yeah, but they still had their ID tags on their stuff. So no matter where they went, they had some form of ID, something that would make them stand out, so the risk of security was much lower. and it left the customer and the client very, very confident that they were hiring the right company. So long story short, come up with your stuff. Make sure it's consistent with what you do. It looks uniform. People will trust you more because of it, and you'll go a lot further than not. That's why franchise companies typically run the gamut in most businesses, because they do look the part. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today for an episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching, where we discussed being consistent with your image. All right. Have a good day. Thanks, guys. Bye.